Hello class, my name is Bridget Carbajal. The study I'll be covering is called The Split Brain in Man by Michael Gazzaniga. This study is part of biopsychology. That's the area of psychology that focuses on how our brain and nervous system affect our emotions, thoughts, and behavior. The idea behind split brain research began in the 1940s and 1950s with animal studies. Scientists found that when they cut the corpus callosum, which is the part of the brain that connects the left and right hemispheres, the two sides of the brain couldn't share information. This led to more curiosity about what would happen in humans if this connection was cut. This study explores what happens when the left and right side of the brain are separated and how each side controls different abilities. The study aimed to answer two questions. Can each side still function on its own? And what happens when the brain can't share information between both sides? The study showed that each side of the brain has different jobs. The left side helps with language and logic, while the right side controls emotions and visual skills. Scientists found that patients who had their brain split to stop severe seizures, each side of their brain could still work on its own, but without the connection, the two sides couldn't share information, which in my opinion is incredible how both sides have their own talents but need each other to work smoothly. The study consisted in testing 4 epilepsy patients who had surgery to cut the corpus callosum, the part of the brain that connects the left and right sides. This stopped seizures from spreading, but researchers wanted to see how it affected thinking and senses. They tested 3 areas: visual, touch, and sound. For the visual test, patients looked at a screen while images or words were shown to just one side. Since each brain side processes opposite visual fields, they found that patients could only name things shown to the right side, but could still point to things with the left hand. For the touch test, patients reached under a screen and felt objects with one hand at a time. Researchers tested whether each brain side could recognize objects by touch without help from the other side. For the sound test, since sound goes to both sides, it was harder to test. But by asking patients to use only one hand after hearing instructions, they learned that each side of the brain processes sounds differently. The results of the test showed that the two sides of the brain can work on their own, but only within the abilities it controlled. But they need to communicate for full understanding. One of the main strengths of this study is that it helped researchers understand how each side of the brain works. It led to better treatment for severe epilepsy, and it opened new doors for studying how brain damage or injuries affect people's thinking and behavior. While it has provided valuable insight, it has also faced criticism. The study has some limits in how it was done. It involved very few people, and each patient had a unique medical history, which makes it hard to apply the results to everyone. Some say the idea that the left brain acts as the interpreter might not be just for split brain patients, it could happen in all brains. Others don't fully agree with the idea that split brain patients have 2 separate minds. They think it might just show how the brain struggles when both sides can't fully work together. This study is important for anyone going into psychology, social work, or education because it helps us understand how the brain affects behavior. It shows how each side of the brain plays a role in communication, memory, emotions, and language. In general, it helps us all better understand people with brain injuries, strokes, epilepsy, or trauma. Today's split brain surgery is still used in rare cases when seizures can be controlled by other treatments. Nowadays, we have tools like MRI scans to study the brain in real time. And new research has shown that the brain has plasticity, the ability to heal, adapt, and learn even after damage. Thanks to studies like this, we've been able to learn so much more about brain functions. Thank you for listening.